Welcome, Blue Chips, to the Friday Night Livestream. I'm Tim here from Volatility Trading. Let's get our last little dose of the stock market before the weekend, shall we? Let's get to it. All right, so what shall we talk about? Well, the subject tonight is moving forward. And yeah, I'm going to attempt to find ways to move forward. And today, one of the first things we're going to do is, first off, Purple Friday. Let's go Ravens. We play tomorrow night. I will be there. I'm super excited. It's going to be a fun time. I'm actually going down to the Horseshoe Casino a little bit prior. Going to play some cards and then make my way over to the game at night. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. So... What's up, Mr. Gifford? What's up, Zishan? What's up, Vincenzo? How are you all doing? I see that. Is the chat not working? This thing like chooses when it wants to work and when it doesn't want to work. Let's see if Mr. Gifford's howdy pops up at some point here. But I'm actually going to be changing some of my hotkeys. Oh, there's David. That worked. Thomas is there. What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome. Team ISW in the house. So part of what I want to do tonight is I want to adjust some of these hotkeys. So I've been very keen on kind of adapting to the not only the current market, but you know, it's still my first year, second year technically in trading, and you know, you learn things about yourself, you learn things about your strategy, you learn things just about everything. And if you're not learning something on a daily basis, then you're doing something wrong. But one thing that I've started to learn about myself is that my strategy, it works, but it's not fully for me. And I've always been looking for that one thing to kind of help push me in the direction to figure out why I'm not moving forward at maybe a pace that I would be more comfortable with. So over the course of, like, let me pull up and the reason I said I've been trading for a year, but not really, but sort of, is because I take anything before February 8th. I don't really consider that. I mean, it's all knowledge and experience, right? So let's pull up our chart real quick. So when I very first started, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I started trading real money after like 2-3 weeks of, reading and watching videos on YouTube and thinking I was going to be the next Ross Cameron, all that good stuff. And I lost a lot of money at first, and I hate how it doesn't show you. I mean, it should, but I was down more than this. I was down like 1,300, but I did take an overnight position that first day and made a good chunk of that back. And I was just trading ridiculous share sizes. I was trading sometimes 2,500 shares, and this is all with a $5,000 account. And I would take a 2,500 share position and pay $25 in and $25 out. I was paying $50 just in commissions. But, I was thinking I was going to make, obviously a lot more than that. But anyways, young and stupid per se. And a lot of us go through that. But what do? We just decided to move forward, and we kept moving forward. We started to figure out, we were testing strategy after strategy after strategy after strategy, and going back and looking. Oh, I finally know what that means. It's my headphones are going to die. So hopefully they last, even though I don't really need them, but we were just testing pretty much every strategy and just learning anything and everything about the stock market as, we started to get lucky. Going back and looking at these trades, a lot of these were luck. There was an idea behind the trades, but the fact that they worked out in our favor, it was a lot of luck. It was definitely something, knowing everything that I know now, I definitely got lucky. And as you can tell here, that luck started to run out because we didn't really change too much. And then we pretty much gave it all back. And obviously this was actually 2 trades kind of in one, and then this was just 1 trade in OCX. And then I finally said, you know what? We need to figure something out. And that was when I found ISW. I found Brian over at ISW, and I'd like to say we haven't looked back, but it was something completely new. We found something that worked. We tried to scale up with it a little bit, and we actually went. I know I've said this before, but we went 28 trades in a row where I am tired. But we went 28 trades in a row straight green. And as you can see, this line was kind of just like going in a normal kind of pace. But then as you can see towards the end, it kind of turned into a ramp because we started to ramp up our share size. And of course, right as we did that, we ran into our first loser. And instead of cutting it at where we should have, but we didn't have this strategy, we didn't have a cutoff point, we didn't have the overall basis of our strategy down pat as far as how to lose when we came up on the stock. So we ended up fighting MTSI to the death, and we ended up being the one that died. So we actually took the whole month of June off, and we paper traded to learn how to lose. And as you can see, we were doing really well. And this loss was just a huge mistake. This was LYV, and we can go take a look at it. And by the way, we are going to be doing the giveaway here in a sec. I was just kind of letting people roll in. Coco, hello. Mr. Gifford already said hi. Zishan said hi. I'll read what you're saying in a sec. Vies, what's going on, man? Tom, your command should work now if you want to test it. But let's take a look at the chart on LYV. So what do you see here? This is just ugly to look at this point. There's so many problems. my strategy is supposed to be when I was trading this was a 1-1-2 strategy. And this turned into a 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1 and and so forth. And the biggest problem is I was adding so close together on a stock that clearly just jumped when I first got in 64. My first entry was around 67. So 3 points, and we already knew it could go more, right? It went 4 points.
These nuts. Got him.
And it works. But I started adding in like 30, 40 cent, not even that, increments. Like, what was I doing? It made no sense. And I just kept doing it. But then even when we got to this point, this is the biggest mistake. So yeah, I already was emotional. I was already breaking rules. And we get to the point where it starts to try to pull back. And then it went higher and went high of day. So my strategy at the time called for me to cut at high of day. Well, what did I do? I sat here and I kept on adding, right? Like an idiot. And what did it do? If you notice, look at all these ads I put in here, and it never even got down to that point again. It just consolidated up there. So something was obviously this was just a big mistake trade. I let my emotions get the best of me. I fought it, and I paid the price for it. So the overall strategy itself was very much in play. So if we go back to when I first started this strategy, February 8th to today, which their date system is off. I noticed that yesterday. I'll say even with the big MTSI loss and the big LYV loss, you can see that we're still in the green, right? We're still in the green and we're still doing well. So we know that we have something that works, but there's still something that's clearly kind of holding us back. Like and it's every night I sit down, I'm like, what is holding me back? What is something that is holding me back? Well, when we start to take a look at trades like, I believe it was, let's see if it was this Billy trade. Oh, of course. I think I just deleted that chart too. Dang it, I never put them in here. Let's go. I'm pretty sure I can. Let's find it on here. Let's link this. And let's scroll back a little. Yeah, we're going to get to the montage here in a sec if I can ever. There we go. I could have just did that in the first place, huh? All right, so if we scroll back to when we traded this, what date was it? January 3rd. So right here on the 3rd, we traded this right here. I don't want to scroll too far, but it's going to make me. There we go. Okay. So we got in. I can check the exact price. Let me see. So 22. So this isn't the trade. It was a bigger loss trade. Let me go back to where I can see the full numbers here. So it was this one, January 2nd. Our first spot was at 2011. So we sold, bought, and then we sell, buy again. So we got stopped out twice. Do I have this chart? Okay, I do. I knew I had the chart. So what happened? Now, the strategy worked fine here, right? The strategy I was implementing. We entered again. It consolidated. We cut it high of day. It did end up coming back down a little bit. So that was, and this is the problem. This is the problem I've been running into a lot. There's an adage, never short the first green day, but I do it too. But I do this a lot where I will end up stopping out and you see it ends up being a fake out. And I do it again up here. I got in again, took partial, stopped out the rest, and we end up end up, it ends up being a loser on the day because of the two. So let's find this on here. All right. So we got in here, it tried to pull back, and we ended up stopping out right here. It ends up pulling back down to where we would have made money, and then it ends up ripping. We get back in, it consolidates, doesn't move down, on the extension, and it ends up ripping. We stop out, high of day, ends up being a fake out, and comes back down and never really recovers the rest of the day, right? It just keeps on kind of fading. So how do we fix that, right? This is a problem I've been running into a lot, right? A lot. And now, granted, I went back with the way that I was implementing this new strategy that I've been toying around with. And no matter how I would have played this on BILI, I would have lost. So there's really no getting around it if I would have started on this move here. But if for some reason we didn't play this move and we started up on this move, it would have actually been a winner. So sometimes, no matter what strategy you use, you're just going to end up a loser regardless, just because that's the way strategies work. Where's the resistance line on what? You talking about on the daily? Because if I remember correctly, there wasn't any. Or yeah, there was. That's why this line's even on the chart. But I don't think that was in play on that day, if I remember. Yeah. All this scrolling. Yeah, see, that wasn't even in play on that day. It's great seeing you get the recognition you deserve. I remember when I found coming off that big loss, can't remember the ticker, and began paper trading, but regardless, man, you've come a long way. Yeah, MTSI, if you're talking about mine. But thank you. I appreciate that, Vise. Seriously. Appreciate all your support from everybody. What was I going to say? Oh, so what am I going to do to attempt to combat an issue that I'm seeing? And just to bring this up real quick, the journal, and then we're going to actually do the giveaway, and then we'll get back to the rest of this, which I totally forgot to pull. I'll find one. It can't be that hard. You guys can help me find one. But look at all these losses. Just absolutely. Now, two of these, don't get me wrong, this APPN and MU, these weren't even trades that I meant to make. These were both mistake trades, and it ended up costing me a little over $20. But I was toying around with new keys that I was trying out, like new hotkeys, and on the way I have them set up is I don't have them linked to an account within the key themselves. So I have to physically pull it down to then hit the button, and then it would, enter onto the demo account. So I did it twice like an idiot. Later, Mr. Gifford. Yeah, I understand the old kitty stuff. I have to deal with that on a daily basis. You know that. That is true, Vise. That is very true. It definitely, if it didn't happen, it would have been nice because it would have helped me keep growing. Maybe, who knows? The thing is, if MTSI didn't happen then, it would have happened on another ticker, no matter what it would have been. It definitely would have happened regardless. And I'm getting tired of doing that. But so what I was getting at is I kept mistake clicking. I would just pull up a chart and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a perfect stock to kind of test my button on. And I would go to hit the button and I'd be like, oh crap, it was my regular account. And then I was like, ugh. So, but I ended up getting out of those. And both, obviously it was a decent setup, but it was later in the afternoon and I don't trade the afternoon. And that's when I was working on it. And the afternoon just never does, no stock does what I wanted to do in the afternoon. That's why I don't trade the afternoon. But okay, let's get into the giveaway here. So we got to do two things here. We got to pull up our video. 1,000 subscribers. And we need to do YouTube comment random picker. Commentpicker.com. There we go. All right. So the first thing we're going to give away is the scanners. We have 2 weeks of the ISW scanners, the Team ISW package. So I know not everybody signed up for the scanners, and vice versa with the TraderSync journal. So we're eventually going to have to kind of keep hitting it until we find somebody that wanted the scanners. Yeah, we're doing it right now, Mr. Gifford. I didn't want to keep people here forever if that's all they're here for. So, all right, so we're going to hit start, or I guess we got to hit get first. All right, we got 29 comments. Let's see if we can find one for the scanners. TraderSync looks interesting. Do you mind sharing the total for all your subscriptions for the month, broker scanners? Okay, so he was just asking a question. I have to go to the next one. Whoa. It's Vise. Looks amazing. Hopefully I get selected for the journal. So unfortunately, we're not doing the journal just yet. So we're going to keep going. We got the raffle and random winner. It's scrolling through. Who's it going to be? Sweet 1K. Congrats, man. But again, I appreciate it, guys. Did I pick the right video? I did. Okay. Just making sure. All right, on to the next. Seriously? What the heck is this? I mean, I guess it is random, so that is possible. Maps and charts. You're going to be able to be monetized. All right. So this is not going as quickly as I thought it would. OMG. I know there's people that I know there are. Congratulations. Your videos helped me so much. Thanks. I've learned so much. I'd like to enter to win the scanner too. Okay. Awesome. Joe, congratulations, my man. I will reach out to you via the YouTube comment, and actually we'll do that right now just so that I don't forget. Usually I write them down, but we'll scroll down and we'll find him. Unless you are in here. Are you in here, Joe? That would be a lot easier. Why am I not seeing Joe? You gotta be get up there. It is. Okay, Pat. I went right by it. All right. So on to the TraderSync journals. We have 3 of these. There's going to be 3 people that win these. Again, it's the pro account for an entire year. So this is pretty awesome. We're going to be doing 3 of them. That's a $360 value. Here we go. DJ Day Trader. I want the scanners. You were 1 behind. 1 behind. I actually was rooting for DJ. I talked to DJ fairly daily, and I know he was excited for that. So that's a bummer, man. Should have put end the journal, but I don't think he was interested in the journal. I'm down for any of it. Naturally, it's all a win for anyone. Congrats on the 1K and more to follow for sure. Jay Towers, I'm down for any of it. Does that mean you want the... I don't know. Are you here? I didn't see you say hello. It's an interesting one. I'm down. It doesn't say directly. I would assume I'm down for any of it means that he wants to enter for both, correct? Would you assume the same thing? I'm going to put him down as the first winner. Actually, I should write these down. Let's see. J Towers. And we'll go from there, because I know he already has the scanner, so I know he was asking about possibly. Let me see. I messaged him on Discord. We'll see. I'll ask him that way. All right. I was about to head off but saw my name and I was like, damn. Well, hopefully we see your name again because you wanted the... This is the same comment. Okay, so you guys agree. So, all right, J Towers is number 1. Yes, but journal is probably needed most. And there he is. So awesome. Well, the journal is what you had won. The scanners we already gave away. So Mr. J Towers, he is number 1. Looking for number 2. Doji, congrats on the 1K. Thank you, sir. I'm simple. I see a giveaway. I like and comment. Okay. Appreciate that. I remember all these comments, and I remember laughing at some of them when I saw them. But Zishan, appreciate the support, man. Congrats hitting 1K. This is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Put me in for the TraderSync. Journaling is important for looking back on your trades to see where you can adjust and improve your strategy. Tom, congratulations. You are number 2. Obviously, I know you're here, so I will go on to the next. Part of me wants Vise to win secretly because he sort of already did once, sort of. MK, appreciate that. Even though we've already seen that one, I think twice. Joe, you've already won, so you can't win again. But I think you only wanted the scanner anyway. DJ Day Trader, he only wanted the scanners. I think we already went. Oh no, he was the first one that we came across. Yeah, Zishan, you already did win the giveaway. Yes, sir. It's only a matter of time when. By the way, I've seen this guy comment on my videos before. I appreciate the support, Mike. But if you guys want to read his name, I'm not going to read it out read it out loud. But yeah. Yes, sir. It's only a matter of when, not if. Very happy for you. I would love to enter to win both. Both the scanners and the journal would help me tremendously as I am not using either as of right now. Can't wait to watch you and your continued success. Keep it up. Mike, appreciate that comment, and you are winner number 3. I do not have your info. I'm going to reach out to you on YouTube and find your comment, and I'm going to let you know that you won. Let's see. All right, I don't see it. Let me know if you guys see it. Am I missing it? Mike. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I should probably do... Does that work? I thought you can... I guess it'll just pop up anyway. All right, so there we go. Down with the giveaway. Yeah, sorry, Vise. A little unfortunate. Usually we don't give away 2 separate things like that. But since we were, that was a little unfortunate. I do kind of feel bad, not going to lie. Thomas. Can I try using your code after sending in my info? I got my account approved barely, but still haven't funded it. Do you think there's a way? Also, how much would commissions be regularly? Sorry, I'm answering a comment real quick. If you don't use a promo code, if you don't use the promo code, your trades should normally be $3.95. I have been told by CMEG that you can indeed use my promo code after you have already signed up. Just shoot them an email. All right. Sorry about that. I actually wanted to come up here to go to the studio and just show you guys. Since 1,000 subs right before the New Year's, we're up to 1,212. Just amazing. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna have to get Mike on Discord so that I can talk to him privately and just say his name out loud. Sorry, I was laughing at somebody on Discord being funny. Okay, so let's get back to the subject at hand, moving forward, which this has all been a process of moving forward, doing the giveaway, celebrating 1,000 subs. Speaking of which, yeah, when you guys contact me about it, the journals and the scanners, I'll let you know how to do it all. Which, if you guys are interested in the journal, you can go get a free account. It's just limited on the features that you can use, but you can still kind of test it out and all that good stuff. So how are we going to combat the fake outs, right? The fake outs are a huge part of our demise when it comes to this strategy. And the reason that we can get faked out a lot is because of how aggressive we can be when making these trades. So if you see on 3 separate occasions, normally what has been happening is we'll enter a trade like this. On this one, we probably would have been out most of our position anyway. But it would come back up and it would just touch right over this candle and then make this move. And sometimes it would just die the rest of the day, like fade off for the rest of the day. And we would get stopped out and we'd top tick. And I was going back and I was just watching how many times that would happen over and over again. It was very frustrating. CMEG is actually a decent broker. What leverage do you get? 6-to-1 is actually what I get. I actually, I know that if you go into, I'll just pull it up, but the frequently asked questions video that I just did with them it explains that. So let me, resources. Yeah, okay. So I'll just go down to show you on the website itself. Right here. So what leverage is available to traders? So if you have $500 or less, you get 1-to-1. $500 to $2,499, you get 4-to-1. And then anything over $2,500, you get 6-to-1. And it doesn't matter the ticker or any of that. It's that's just what it is. It's based on the equity in your account when you start the trading day. That's what it says. Available leverage is based on the account balance at the start of the trading day. So just to answer your question. Why would it be too high? I mean, I don't really ever use it, but it's there. It's nice to have. So like if I were to play like an $80 stock, it allows me to play that stock even though I'm using the same risk, but it gives me the buying power to be able to play the higher price stocks. So it's nice to have it. It doesn't mean you're risking more money. It just means that you're available. The availability of tickers that you can play goes up. So that's how I look at the 6-to-1. I don't look at it as in I can trade more money, if that makes sense. Thomas. That's too funny. But so what I'm getting at is I was trying to figure out a way to two things. My 2 biggest problems with my strategy were getting faked out, which if we scroll back, it was a much better example. So right here, we were in this trade in this general area, and then we made a new high and got faked out and came back down. So we ended up getting stopped out for a pretty decent amount. And on top of that, we were wrong. Like we eventually ended up being wrong. So how do I combat a fake out? And how do I combat the emotion behind wanting to let this attempt to see if it's a fake out, but not lose my ass when it isn't a fake out, right? So say when we entered in down here, if we wanted to let this go, thinking that, okay, maybe the top of this candle might have been a fake out. You can see it came down a little bit before continuing, and it could have been a fake out, but it wasn't, right? So how do we figure out how to let something go against us a little bit more, looking for the bigger move? Now keep in mind, if we were anywhere near the top on this, we most likely are getting out somewhere around here. Like it almost pulled all the way down to view app. There's no way we're going to let this go back against us. I'm giving a broad example here. But how could we let something go against this and not lose our ass at the same time, right? So the answer that I've come up with, and it's through a lot of research and talking to, Team ISW guys and getting their feedback, even kind of stealing some of their ideas, is coming up with a way to basically have a set risk where I just start smaller, right? So I see a move. If I want to get in, I look at the move. I'm anticipating a move usually, and I've said this in the past with my previous strategy, I always look for a move to go through a previous resistance, which in this case, it was obviously way wrong because the stock was pretty strong. Go through a previous resistance, and then before it continues to come back down and try to test it. But obviously on such a strong move like this, you're only looking to try to get like half that move back, right? So if we get in for any kind of an entry up in here, your goal is most likely going to be somewhere around here, like 40, 50, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on your comfortableness. I wanted to say comfortability, but I know that's not a word. Depending on how comfortable you are with letting things work out in your favor. So in this case, you could have kind of read that this wasn't working, and it gave you a decent pullback. I mean, it went up to 84, came all the way down to 34. So I can't imagine you would still be in this trade looking for the entire move once it kind of stopped. But once it maybe broke back through 50, you might have took it if you were still looking for the bigger move. But that's kind of the minute details of your personal strategy. But essentially, instead of looking for a 1-1-2 opportunity, why not look for the opportunity that I feel like I'm in a very extended move? Let's look to build up a position. So that way, if it wants to continue to run, if this is not a fake out, we can just kind of build a position because we started much smaller, right? We can let it make its move, let it finish making its move, and continue. Whenever we get a move, we can add into it, right? We can bring our share size up, and then we can look for this eventual breakdown. Same thing here. So when it went high of day again, instead of saying, oh my God, I fought this thing up to here, I'm in over my head because I went 1, I let it go against me, I got my 2, and now it failed and it went high of day. Well, guess what? You're out for a huge loss right here as it breaks high of day because you're like, okay, this thing is obviously strong, it's not stopping. And then look what happens. You get faked out. And it would be so frustrating, right? Because it does come back down. It does touch VWAP. It does come down to this previous resistance that was set and touch it before trying to continue, just like we always say. So how do we not stop out for those huge losses, right? Because that would have been a huge loss. If you decided to fight this thing through here instead of cutting it, and then you decided, okay, I'm in over my head, I have way too much share size, this thing has went against me already so much, I'm going to cut it if it goes high a day again after this consolidation. And sure enough, it does. And what happens? It's a fake out. And then the rest of the day, you're pissed and you're kicking yourself. And this happened to me so many times. I do not know what that means. I'm going to Google Translate it. Unless somebody wants to translate it for me. Spanish to English. Go, sing, kiss, bothered, everything said, Tor, world, antier. I don't think that is what you are saying. I have no clue. Can somebody translate that for me? I'm stuck. But, okay, so basically what I'm saying is instead of trying to fight these, instead of fighting them, just work with them, right? However, the other benefit to my thought process here is there's always a set risk, which I'm going to immediately pull the journal back up and show you guys what not having a quote unquote like overall set risk, like when you feel that you can fight a stock and win. Like now granted, if I really wanted to fight this thing and I just let it keep going against me and I just kept hammering it, I would have had a huge win, right? If I would have let this go high a day again and smashed it again up here, I would have had a huge win. But, or at least broke even, whatever. But I didn't because I'm already in over my head and I'm too emotional. My size was too big, etc. Vincenzo, yeah, that's right up your alley. So you can't. But and then that what I was getting at with the journal is that's what this leads to. It leads to these. Because what happens if we just real quick, I'm just going to scroll for it. It'll be easier. There it is. I just want to show you what... Oh, I'm not going to have it on here because it's on Stock Trader. Hold on. If you guys are looking for a free alternative to a basic journal, StockTrader.com is great too. But TraderSync is where it's at now. Very modernized, gives you everything you need. This is just very much the basics. But I do still have like all my old information here. So this is what happens when you try to fight it. If you guys haven't seen this chart before, instead of when it went high of day here and cutting, I covered partial and then I added. Instead of cutting whole when it went high of day, I covered half and then added. And then again, high a day, covered half and then added. Again, high a day, covered half and then added. Covered half and then added. And I fought it. I just kept fighting it. Where one, I didn't have a max loss set, obviously. I ended up losing almost $1,000 on this thing. Two, I was just curious. Yeah, pretty much exactly 1,000. So after commissions, I definitely lost $1,000 there. I mean, look at all these tickets I took for $2.95 a piece. It's ridiculous. But it just goes to show you that if you keep fighting, this doesn't have to have a pullback like this. This pullback here could have just consolidated and then grinded higher. And then consolidated and then grinded higher. Like that happens. It happens all the time. So you can't just keep adding and adding and adding, because what's going to happen is you're going to get these cliffs, because eventually you're going to have to cut it. You're just going to get too far and you're going to be like, okay, this is clearly, this hurts. It's time to cut it. And that's what happened to me twice. That's what happened with LYV. I was like, well, it's getting towards the end, because that was an afternoon trade too. It was, I believe, a news-driven trade. And I was like, well, I'm not going to hold this overnight because who knows what could happen. And LYV ended up going back up. So I made the right move of getting out when I did, but it should never be a $700 loss. Not when my account is only what it is. That's horrendous. That you're talking over 10% of your account. That's way too much. Way too much. So that's my two problems. Getting faked out and not having a set loss, like a set max loss. So how do we combat that? We find a way to not get faked out, and we find a way to set a max loss so that every single day there's a certain amount that we can lose. Simple, right? Well, why the hell couldn't I figure this out earlier? Don't ask me. I'm just, I'm so caught up in the day-to-day. And no, not the YouTube and stuff like that, because trust me, I put way more time into my trading than YouTube. YouTube is an outlet. It's a journal. And it's also now become something where I can try to help others. And I really feel that that's what this is turning into with the channel, is you guys get to see my journey. You get to know that it's as transparent as it gets. There's no other channel out there that is as 100% transparent as I am. I've been transparent the entire time. You can go back and watch my videos from day one, and there has not been one time where you haven't seen anything. Anytime you want to ask to see anything, it's here. It's there. I'm going to show it to you. I'm not hiding anything from you. Even on days where I don't post a video, if I do make a trade later, I show it to you somehow, whether it's the next day, the day before, winner, loser, whatever. I make sure you guys see everything. So, and that's what I want. I want you guys to be able to know that in the future, when you guys come and see a video on my channel, if it's something you're interested in, that you'll know it's 100% the truth, and it's 100% coming from a good place. And that's what I'm after. So yes, I didn't even see Thomas post something. Keep fighting it only if your account could handle that size. Yeah, true. We won't go there. I mean, even those, I mean, like take Dries or take HUNT, take all those runners that started at like $20 and went to $100. Like even the huge accounts, like eventually you're gonna be like, okay, this is enough. I can't take anymore. Obviously this thing is going somewhere that I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I'm on a rocket that I can't afford. So speaking of, sorry about that noise, probably do give you guys a little show real quick. Oh crap, you guys probably can hear that, and I'm gonna have to do it again because I testing. There we go. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, when my headphones just died, it did that. So sorry about that. But that was the strategy's fault. You broke major rules on those two trades. Correct. No, Thomas, you are 100% correct. I definitely broke rules there. It had nothing to do with the strategy. I am not saying the strategy doesn't work. And trust me, I'm not getting rid of the strategy. I'm just attempting to improve it, right? So how can I improve the strategy without getting rid of the strategy? That's kind of the idea. How can I basically make it so that I won't break the rules anymore is what this is turning into. So how do we make that happen? And again, I was just saying before my mic cut out, I don't think I repeated it. The two things, there's the big losses, not having a set risk, and getting faked out on trades. So just to keep using BILI as an example here, I'm basically looking to start smaller and being able to just kind of add into a position, like build a position. I started talking about this earlier. And if it keeps going and keeps going and going, well, guess what? I'm going to just have a set max loss. And if it hits it, it hits it. I'm out. That's it. But if it doesn't get to that point, I can keep adding as much as I want until it gets to that point. And that's that. And then at that point, after we build up a nice position, we just let it do its thing, right? We just let it kind of make its pullback, and we can kind of sit in this thing. If it takes all day, it takes all day. Granted, we don't want to be in these things all day, and the majority of the time around like 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock, something around like when lunchtime starts, things kind of start to just consolidate. They don't really move too much the rest of the day, and a lot of times they usually end up moving back down. So if you're short, it could be a good thing. But if you're long, it's probably a bad thing. So that's kind of something to keep in mind, just looking at a bunch of charts myself and just from hearing from others as well. Being able to add more takes so much of the emotion away. This is very true. And full disclosure, some of this is stolen straight from David. He's a part of the Team ISW, and and again, making contacts, learning from one another. Again, that's what this is all about. We're here to learn together. So if I can say one thing in this stream while you're listening that helps you, perfect. That's why we're doing this. If I can say multiple things that help you, even better. And if you can, if you're kind of new and I'm kind of teaching you everything as we go, even better. That's the whole point of this. This isn't for me to come here and brag that I'm better than you, because I'm not. We're all in the same boat here, and I'm not trying to sell you anything, right? I'm asking you to hit like, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe as well. That helps me out. It helps support the channel and support the growth, and it allows me to, keep doing these, right? It allows me to know that you guys support me and you want more of this content, and that's that. So, no, I wasn't. I know you weren't looking for a shout out, David, but I like to give credit where credit's due. So that's all I'm doing. Trust me. I did not invent the wheel. I am not trying to reinvent the wheel. I am just trying to find my niche in the market and perfect it, right? I'm trying to find a way that makes money. I'm trying to find a profitable strategy, and I'm trying to use it effectively, right? So like we were shown, and like Thomas had mentioned, a lot of it comes down to having the rules and following those rules. So that's key number one. And let's bring up LYV. It's actually a good thing that Thomas actually said that, because if you guys remember looking at the chart, this is an ugly, and look at this. It actually climbed and stayed up there. I think let me go take a look. My first entry on LYV was like at 67. Yeah, literally at 67. And look at this thing now. It's up at 71. It never came back down below 70. And I was in at 67 for my first entry. All the way down here. Just to give you some perspective. So you could keep adding into this thing, right? And what's going on? You're literally, no, it's never coming back down. Or at least not now, obviously. But let's scroll in here. So when I got in at 67, the only possible thing that I feel I could have did different is if it broke this previous candle to jump out, which would have sucked, right? That's a full point away. I think I entered with 50 shares or 25 shares. No, I did 50. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I did 50, because I got greedy and I started to get a little overconfident. Because if we come here and look at the chart, look at where we were. We had finally broken above this key area. And actually, let me get rid of the date here, because if we look at the overall chart, you'll kind of see what happened here. So obviously we didn't get up to here, but we had this little resistance area on our own chart, our own equity chart, and we started to get above it, and I was like, let's go, right? I was like, let's go. We're going to do this. Like it was in my head as we were pulling away from this 466 area. You can see like every day we were getting higher and higher and higher. We got up to like 700, and I was almost there. I was like, let's just go. Like we're going. And so when I pulled up LYV, I remember looking at it, and I saw that it started at 64 and it went up to 68. So on my little chart, let me go, I'll just show you. So on my, I'm kind of in the way here, but here's the chart that I was going off of, and I still use it. If it moves 4 points, my first entry should be 25 shares. So why was my first entry 25 or 50 shares, right? Well, it would have to be half the move that it made for it to be 50 shares, because I was overconfident. And it was literally MTSI all over again. And immediately when it started going against me, I was like, no, screw this. Like, this is too intense of a move. This thing's coming back down, or it's going to at least have a big pullback. I'm going to hammer this thing as it goes up. And that's what I did. I immediately went into, I'm going to fight this thing. Like, immediately, all rules were just thrown out the window. I broke the initial rule of entry, and I broke the rule of just fighting it. Like, instead of using 3 entries, 1, 1, 2, I decided to go 1, 1, 1, 1, like all the way up this candle. And it made no sense. And then the biggest problem was, even after that, it tried to pull back, and then it went high of day right here at 60. I think it was like right at 69. Yeah. So the 69 reclaimed right then and there should have been a cut. But I said no. I was fighting this. Like, in my head, I was like, nope, I'm fighting this thing to the death. And I just kept on fighting it. And look what happened. We lost. And that's what happened. So this is what we need to try to prevent ourselves from doing in the first place. So how do we do that? Now, with the new idea, right, we pull this up. Now, these are ones that would be typically ones we'd probably have to avoid, right? We'd probably have to avoid just because of the share size. But then again, not really, because no matter the share size, it's all about the Mahonies, right? The money. But if we got in at that same 67 area after this 4-point move, we would look at how much, and this is something else I got today, which I'll show you. A calculator. And I just noticed that we aren't even on the chart. So sorry about that. I was explaining all that without you guys being able to see it. I'm going to explain it again real quick. We got in at 67. Hey, what's up, Scott? What's going on, man? Do I hear a dog snoring? Yes, there's 2 of them, my 2 pugs. But yeah, this was the reclaim that I'm talking about here at 69. We just decided to add all the way up this candle, and we were fighting it just like complete idiots. And when it came back down and came back up, we should have cut it here, but we didn't. We just kept on fighting it, like I had said. This will just kind of give you visual to what I was talking about. So how do we combat that? How do we get to where we're supposed to be? Hold on, give me 1 second here. My screen might go black for a second, but just bear with me.